Hey, what's up guys? In this episode of Inspired Life, we're gonna do something super fun. I have my best friend Logan Hasty here. Logan Hasty is an incredible artist. We've been friends for how long?
Since you were like 12.
Since we were 12.
Yeah.
So we've really done a lot of life together. We have a lot of similar background stories, a lot of fun stuff that we'll get into. But the point of this video is I'm an entrepreneur. I love entrepreneurship and all that stuff. And Logan is an incredible artist. Your mind is going to be blown when we show you what he does and his heart behind it and his message. And I want to help Logan get paid for his art. Yes. Logan's goal, tell us, what's your goal for art? And when, like, you want to be a full-time artist, right?
Absolutely. I want to be making art and spreading art because I think that's what art is for, is to share. And I know that when I've been inspired by art, it speaks so much to me. And I know that the art that I hold and the art that I create is going to speak as well. So getting my art out there and getting to also help encourage other artists and people who are interested in art. Art is such an easy and awesome thing to just get into in whatever form and media. It doesn't necessarily have to look like drawing. But I think encouraging everyone to tap into the creativeness inside all of us, whatever that looks like for you, is really my goal.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Logan is primarily a digital artist, although you have hand sketches and acrylic painting. Yeah, so many things that we're going to get to show you. But one of the key things that I like to point out when we're talking about what is an inspired life, and we're going to get into what Logan's inspired life is, but there are certain building blocks. And for someone like an artist, if you are always worried about how you're going to pay the next bill and how to make money and all that stuff, it slows you down and distracts you from the art. And so I want to team up with you and help you get paid for your art. And that's what we're going to be exploring in this series. So in this first episode, before we get into all the fun stuff about NFTs, Nifties, uploading his art and selling it online, selling prints, all that exciting stuff, trust me, we'll get into marketing and entrepreneurship and all of that. But first, what really gives all of this its meaning is getting to know Logan, the man behind the art, and learning what his message is. So I'm just gonna interview Logan in this video so that you can get to know this beautiful, amazing soul and all the amazing gifts that he has to share with you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, so Logan, when did you know that you were supposed to be an artist?
I started doing art when I would go to the library as a little kid. I would just grab some books about bugs and animals, and I was just always drawn to create and to draw, and that was kind of something that I just naturally did. It was easy. Every time I'd go over to a friend's house, I would start getting them involved in making card games or board games or whatever. It was like I was always wanting to invite others into creating, and kind of didn't put a label on it. I just always was creating. Until eventually got, my first couple sketchbooks, and it was game over. I just have not stopped filling out sketchbooks since I was about probably around 8 was when I really started creating in that way. So yeah, I'm 25 now, so quite a bit of time of drawing consistently, and there have been seasons where I've had to put art down, but for the most part, it has been my heart's calling, and it's been a knowing. It's like, oh, this is where I feel most satisfied and living in my fullest self is when I'm creating.
Wow.
So
yeah, and I remember when we would hang out, you would show me your art. Even when we were 12, you would show me sketches, and the funny thing about all this is, like, we are best friends. We've been best friends forever. I am super more like rational-minded business entrepreneurship, and it took me a while to even learn how to appreciate art. I didn't even think of myself as someone who appreciated art until maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And it's just cool that I got to watch your journey, seeing your art. You'd show me things. I would just do my best to try to understand and appreciate you and encourage you, even when I didn't know what I thought or what to say or any of that. But it's been a cool journey.
Thank you.
So, man, a lot of people start off with sketchbooks like you mentioned, but you stuck it through. What was that feeling, that inspiration? What drove you to want to fill up those sketchbooks over and over?
It was basically, I think how I'll put it is kind of like what I was saying earlier. It was a deep part of my soul felt most alive when creating, and it was something like I know what it feels like when I'm not creating, and I feel disconnected from part of who I know I am. So part of the drive was really to connect with myself, and art has really been a safe and just a wonderful space for me to, and I know a lot of artists share this, but to express what we're feeling, what we go through. And a lot of times I didn't have the words to share where I was at, and art was that place to just be open with myself and open with my heart and really create from that space. So really, it was a necessity. I needed to return to that place of just safety, and that was where I was at. And art is still that same beating heart of a space where I can really process my emotions. And hi Bella, we got a little corgi down here, but I kind of knew what it was like to not create, and I think those were the driving forces of, I know what it's like when I'm not creating, and I know what it's like when I am creating, and I'm thriving when I'm creating. So it was like, I can't afford to not be doing what I'm here to do, which is creating.
Yeah.
And it took a little while to figure out that it's like, I can trust that. And I think a lot of it came down to me not believing it in the beginning and not knowing that I could rely on art. And all I had heard was starving artists. I hadn't heard much of from my community or just people that I was surrounded with that art wasn't even possibility. This is Bella.
My corgi.
Yeah, and she's one of the biggest supporters, really.
Yeah, she's a big fan of his art, and Logan in general. Logan babysits, or house sits for us.
So when I draw, she'll just be laying on me or right at my feet. It's really sweet.
Yeah, so one thing that I liked that you said there, it sounds like you used art to process your emotions and to connect with yourself. And some people, they'll hear that and they'll know exactly what you mean. They're like, yes, I do that. And then other people, that might be a concept that they've never really thought of even connecting with themselves. What does that even mean? And then specifically choosing the creative outlet to do that.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about like how you did that and what it led to of using that creative outlet to process your emotions? Where did that lead you?
Yeah, I didn't know where it was going to lead me. It was I didn't have anyone telling me this is what you should do. I didn't have I would use the word that I was kind of a stubborn artist, and the fact was like, I know that I love to create solely just from me and the things that are in my imagination and my heart. So I didn't want to look at anyone's art, and I was kind of stubborn, like especially when starting out art. I was like, I'm only gonna do but eventually you realize, like we can learn from each other. You can learn from other artists. So, but initially it was just a thing I was drawn to, was just create from that place. And I mean, I would start to create and start crying and really like going into some deep emotions that I hadn't allowed myself to process. So it was kind of me walking myself through that and discovering along the way that, this is a safe place. Like, this is something I want in my life. This is the thing I want to return to. So I didn't have a lot of guidance in getting there, but it was something naturally that really continued to just develop over time. And now it's like what my relationship looks like with art is so dynamic and beautiful. It's like when I sit down to create, it's like I'm entering into this very specific space with myself, my heart, my dreams, my imagination, and I get to just process and work through a lot of stuff. Art is a very beautiful experience but it does take courage to also allow yourself to feel those feelings and to dream and risk and try new things and follow your heart even when it's scary. And a lot of times when I'm drawing, fear will come up of like, really, you should create that, or what, you're gonna take the piece that way? And it's always a moment to just trust myself, trust that inner small voice is like, yes, like, hey, what would it be like to explore that part of the piece? So really it all came down to like learning how to trust myself and listen to myself and sit with my emotions and feelings.
Wow. Dude, that's awesome. And the reason why this channel is called Inspired Life and why I love that concept so much is because when someone chooses to follow their inspired life and pick that sacred path and take it seriously, it shines and inspires everyone else, even if our paths are totally different. Because you inspire me all the time. Your commitment to art, when you choose art over other things that might be more exciting or distracting for others. and then the ways that you talk about your craft and your art. I get ideas all the time. I write them down. I go like cross-discipline it and apply it to entrepreneurship or my business or how I could show up just in my day-to-day. So I really love that, man.
Thank you for saying that.
Dude, so when did you know that you wanted to take art seriously as a career? Or let me rephrase that because we talked about that a little bit. When did you start treating it like a career or like your life's work?
It really came back to fear. And when I realized there was so much fear that was holding me back, that I knew I wanted to have an art show. I knew I wanted to start pursuing art, but it was really a lot of old stories that I told myself that it couldn't work, or there wasn't money there. It was a lot of things I had to really get over just those old stories and realize that those desires in my heart to be an artist were there for a reason, and that I could trust that. So I really started to take that seriously when I started to dive into myself and really start to reflect and ask myself, what do I want to do? What do I want to do while I'm here with this life that I'm given? And the thing that came up always most was like, I'm an artist, I'm a creator, and for me to not be doing what I'm here to do, it's me denying that part of myself. So really, once I kind of understood that there was so much fear that had taken a hold of me, that I'd allowed to speak into my life and to be my story, that I agreed and partnered with fear in those seasons. And I think we all have to be in that season and state for a little bit until we realize we know what it's going to cost to not follow our dreams. We know what our life is going to look like if we don't take that leap of faith. And I'd gotten to the place where I couldn't not be an artist anymore. I couldn't not think and give it my all, because I'd already done that. I'd already allowed fear to run its course. I had already lived in that fear of not allowing myself to be fully who I am. And I chose to turn and to bank and to know that I can trust the desire that I can be an artist. And I didn't have all the answers, but I knew that I could trust that.
Awesome, dude. And when was that? Was that 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
Yeah, I would say it's about 2 years ago for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, man, it's been just such an honor and an exciting front row seat that I've got to have to your art and your growth. Mm-hmm. I watched you do exactly what you said of like go in with your art. And as you did that over that season, you became a much more mature, much more confident person, where you became internally driven, where nothing could come get you from the outside. Mm-hmm. And that's just been super, super cool, man.
Thank you.
So, where are you going? What do you want to do with your art? Show us. Tell us where this is all going.
Yeah. So my art has really, as I continue to see how much art benefits me in my life, it is a stable. I make a goal to create every single day, and it's a kind of a no-brainer, as you would do something that is good for you every day. And I know that art has found me, and now that I create every day, and kind of like I was talking about earlier, return to that place where I can process and reflect and dream, all I could want to do is to get to share that, not only the work and the how much my art speaks to me and my friends around me, but I know that we all individually hold that same divine just creativity within us, and the way that we communicate that might look differently, like platforms or businesses, or cooking or interior design. There's so many beautiful avenues, and only you can know what that might look like for you, and you might have to try a couple of things out. But for me personally, it's art, and I think what I needed was a voice for someone to say, hey, you can do this, like you can follow your creativity and trust that. And so what I want to do with my art is to empower artists and to really encourage this generation that we're all moving towards following our desires and our dreams. So that's really what I want my art to be, is just a permission slip to anyone to follow their desire, to follow that creativity and let it speak to them in unique. My art is very unique and special to me and speaks to me on very unique and special ways, but it could also mean something completely else to someone. So don't hold your art back. Please share it with the world, and yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing your heart, Logan.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you lots of Logan's art. And in the upcoming episodes, we are going to get down to the nitty gritty of actually uploading his first pieces onto nifty platforms, NFTs. If you don't know what that is, we'll cover that in the next episode. Very exciting. Basically, what we're attempting to do is take Logan's amazing art and combine it with the insane tidal wave that is blockchain and non-fungible token technology, and we're gonna smash them together and ride that wave, and help Logan take his art and his message out into the world. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and go live your inspired life.
Yes.
Thanks. Woo!
Heck yeah.
All right, that's it.
Nice.